Hello friends, this is B.Reborn Art and Healing. Today I'm creating in my disc bound journal measuring 6 by 9. It is filled with mixed media paper. I wanted a smaller size of the disc bound journal. It's really nice because you can take the pages out and I love that idea. I'm going to be using a couple of the stencils from Shawn Petite, the numbers Jumble, and the lace stencil, and here's just some papers that I'm planning on using as my focal images. I don't end up using all of them. As the project unfolded, I didn't end up accenting it with the additional scrapbook pages. So and then I'm going to be using that the Crafters Workshop Light and Fluffy modeling paste. As I've mentioned before, it's really nice for art journal pages because it's very light and it dries quickly. I'm going to be using some old book pages and old music pages from my stash. I got these, I got my old vintage papers a variety of places. I got some from my neighbor behind us, as well as from a rummage sale. So I'm going to be tearing those up and just randomly applying them on the pages using my golden matte medium, as you saw there a moment ago. And I'm not really applying them with any rhyme or reason, just trying to mix it up a little bit on both pages. I really enjoy doing the double page spread. It was much more manageable in this smaller journal, though I really enjoyed it. And those are the book pages that I was talking about. I am, in this case, I did start to scan a lot of my vintage stuff. And so these are photocopies of the scanned images. And I was really impressed with how the scanning captured the age of the papers in terms of like the edges and stuff and things that were torn on them, which is part of what makes them beautiful. So I'm looking forward to getting more and more of those scanned so that I am not pulling from the originals. Really want to kind of maintain that stock and not lose the original. So again, I'm going to be filling up, for the most part, both of these pages. I don't cover up every inch of the surface. And additionally, I apologize, I forgot to mention that I did pre-gesso both of those pages before I started. I did that off camera. Once I created it, I wanted to play around with it. So I went ahead and gessoed to see how it would hold up. And I'm going to give both pages a coat of watered down gesso, and that's just in an effort to kind of push back the color on these pages and push it into the background. I do also come in with regular gesso here in a moment, but I started with the watered down gesso. And so there's the regular gesso, and I do use the Liquitex gesso. I really like it, and it's definitely my favorite. And this is, I'm just using an old card here. It's actually an old ID card from my volunteer work at the school, and I'm just using that to kind of apply some of that gesso to create some texture. And then I used a paper towel on purpose to press into that gesso, and it leaves the imprint of that paper towel, which adds a lot of visual interest as well to the page. And I'm coming in with the Shawn Petite lace stencil and my archival ink in yellow. I think my ink pad is dry because I've never had so much trouble applying color. So I think that's probably what's happening here. I've had the ink pads for quite a while and I don't use them much. And so I wasn't really getting the depth of color that I wanted. But in the end, it was all covered up with everything else that came after, as is often the case. The numbers Jumble stencil here, this is also from Shawn Petite. You can find her shop at shawnpetite.com. Amazing line of stencils, as well as collage packs that can be purchased. The quality of the stencils is exceptional, and I really enjoy using them. So again, I'm just applying the numbers in a random way to both pages. I really enjoy this stencil. It's very versatile and very fun. And so there you can see just a close-up of that. And next I'm going to come in with the TCW, that stands for the Crafters Workshop, and that is their light and fluffy modeling paste. And as I mentioned before, I really like it because it's very light and it performs well in a journal. And what I did is I took that light and fluffy paste and I mixed it with my Cad Yellow Medium in the golden fluid acrylic to create a colored texture, which I don't know why I never thought of doing that before, but I'm super glad I tried it because I've been doing that more frequently and really love that I get to control that color right from the start. So I enjoyed that. So, and these are the pieces that I cut out from a couple of pages of scrapbook paper. And it is actually from the collection by Authentique paper, I believe. And it is called Poised, is the collection. And I just really, I don't buy much scrapbook paper because I have a ton, but I was in Hobby Lobby and I saw it and I'm like, I have to have that. So I knew that I wanted to create a piece around that. So, and I wanted to offset it off of the journal page. So I'm using some yellow cardstock there to have it have a nice background because yellow, the yellow and the raw umber are my primary colors in this piece. And I realized there that I actually wanted that the Poise piece there to be also set against that yellow paper. So I went ahead and removed that from that first piece and then reapplied it. And then I'm going to attach both of those together to create kind of a focal image on one of the pages. The paper is just gorgeous. Love the wood grain look and the message of the Poise on this this piece. It says the deep sense of being at peace with yourself and the world. And then the other one on the other page, I'm using the girl that's looking in the mirror. And it says, it's a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson, "Let us be poised and wise and our own today." And I find that to be really a challenge in our world to, we often have to fight to be authentic. We have to fight against the grain of society that says we are supposed to be a certain way, act a certain way, talk a certain way. And this just really spoke to me at this point in my life. Again, with the, ongoing relational things that I'm working on. This particular, the meaning of these two pages was deep for me. And I really loved that I could capture that just with scrapbook paper and paint. So it was super fun. And here I'm just coming in and with my, this is, I apologize. I don't remember the brand of this distress tool. I go back and forth between that little tiny one in the upper right hand corner that's from Tim Holtz and this other one that's bigger. Some of the scrapbook paper is very thin, and so when you go to distress it, it can be hard to get to or to have the effect that you want with that small one. And so here I'm applying those two pieces together using my golden matte medium. And I also distressed all of the edges of all of the papers. I apologize, I didn't say that as I was kind of on my soapbox a little bit about society and acceptance and being authentic. So anyway, and this is the surface I'm going to start with. This is the right-hand side of the journal spread. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a raw umber glaze, which shouldn't be any surprise to any of you that are that watch my channel. I love the raw umber glaze. I really need to practice and play with not doing a raw umber glaze just to see kind of what other kinds of things I could experience in creating. But I did it here. I wanted it to look old. I didn't want it to look all fresh and I didn't want it to look fresh and new. I wanted it to look aged, and the raw umber is one of those colors that allows you to make that happen. So I do apply the glaze to both pages and wipe it back, just leaving again kind of that antiqued, dirty look, if you don't mind my saying so. It did light or darken up that yellow, the yellow modeling paste paint stencil design. So I did go back and wipe that with a clean baby wipe to bring back some of the yellow on the surface. And then here I'm just coming in with the yellow straight up and applying it with my finger. Again, I didn't want it to be super grungy. I just wanted it to kind of have that background. And perhaps there's a better way to do that. I don't know at this point, because I'm still learning, still practicing, and it's sometimes hard to get away from the tried and true things that you try in your creative journey. And so I tend to go back to this. So, and this is Lindy's Stamp Gang spray in dark chocolate truffle. And I apologize, the camera would not focus on that for some reason. But the color is dark chocolate truffle. And again, I'm sprayed some water on the page, and I'm just using the spray stick there and applying that spray just with the nozzle. The Lindy sprays tend to be very messy, and I'm a little bit of a control freak, and so I try to keep the splatter to a minimum, and so this is a great way to be able to apply it without spraying and having that spray land on everything on your desk and around you. So I really liked this. I like this method. So there's just a close-up of what that looks like. And the Lindy Stamp Gangs, they never really quite are the color in the bottle. They have kind of a life of their own when they go on the surface. And here's my favorite French script stamp, which you've probably seen before in other videos. I like to apply it on top of the textured bits. It creates a lot of interest, I think, and I love French text particularly, and so I really enjoy using this technique, and it fills some of the spaces as well. It's pretty neat. So, and then here I'm going to get ready to apply my focal images to both pages. And there, the one on the right there is the girl, beautiful dainty girl, looking in the mirror. And then the other side is Poise. And again, that says the deep sense of being at peace with yourself and the world. And that's something you grow into, I found. Life really takes it out of us, I think. And so getting back to a place where we can be at peace with who we are is really a gift. And so here I'm applying that, the girl on the right-hand page. And I do end up having to bring in my Liquitex heavy gel because the papers were so thick and the background was also quite thick, weighty, I guess, kind of heavy. And so it took a little maneuvering to get those pieces to stay down. And so here you can see I'm coming back yet again with more of that heavy gel to get that to adhere, and then using my towel there to press it down so I didn't get sticky fingers. And there's the quote again by Ralph Waldo Emerson: "Let us be poised and wise and our own today." And I pray every day. I want to be who God created me to be. I don't want to be who somebody else wants me to be, just to make them happy. So, and the butterfly there that you see is actually one of the free printables that I've mentioned before that I got from Marami Small Art Creative Cafe group. It is free to join. It's an incredibly inspirational place to spend time when you're online. Lots of great art that's created all the way from beginner to more experienced, and it's a very encouraging environment. So, and again, my camera wouldn't really focus in on that little print on the right-hand page. I'm not sure why. And then here, as is traditional for me, coming in with my General's charcoal pencil and edging all around all of the elements. So around the quote, around the white part of those paper pieces and the yellow, and just creating a nice depth there to make them look like they're more three-dimensional. And so it's a great accent. So makes it really pop off the page. And here I'm coming around the edges of both of the pages and creating my border. Sometimes I do use my Soho soft pastels. They allow you to kind of get in places that the pencil won't allow. So, and then the last bit here is I'm going to come in and shade around the butterfly also. And I really liked the butterfly. It kind of jumped out at me because it already had those yellow accents on the bottom wings, and I thought, wow, how perfect. I couldn't have even planned that any better than it just happened. So that was pretty cool. And butterflies, I just love them. I put them in almost everything I create, as you probably already know. So anyway, this was a quick video. It was a quick process. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you haven't already liked and subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would really appreciate it if you did. It allows me to be more visible on Facebook and allows me to put out more inspirational creating. So I hope that you have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.